Hey.
Hey.
How's it going?
Good.
Have a
How
good
about
day?
you? Good.
I'm starving. What's for supper?
Well, before dinner, can you tell me about whenever you lived in this haunted house back whenever you were a kid?
My haunted house story. I will if you really want to hear it. I'm not sure if you want to or not, but I will.
Okay, let's go hear it then.
All right, let's go have a seat.
So, Dad, tell me about the situation you had whenever growing up in this old house you were used to live in.
Okay. It's this is definitely a true story. It happened, gosh, I was just a kid. I was probably 12 years old probably, but it happened in Selma, Alabama. We lived in an old farmhouse, and this house was probably 150 years old. It was an old farmhouse, and it was common back then for houses that had cemeteries. So you have families that lived there forever, and when you pass away, they buried you on the property. So that was common. It did catch me off guard that we had the horses, and our horse troughs was actually vaults, coffins that people was buried in. So instead of horse troughs for a lake, we had the concrete vaults from a graveyard for our horses and cows, and that was off to a bad start with that happening. But this happened, let me tell you what, just certain circumstances. We've always heard this house was haunted. And back then, everything was haunted. So I was used to hearing haunted stories. But this house was always making noises. It was settling in creeks, the wind blew, the floor made noises, but we heard footsteps occasionally. And I've always passed it off as the wind, or Dad said the house was settling, but I remember one particular day, it was middle of the day, it was not at night, that me and my mother and my sister was in her room. I think Mother was sewing or something, but we heard footsteps. And it was not the wind blowing, it was just click, click, definitely footsteps. And we thought Dad was home or someone was coming down the hall, but nobody was there. All right. That got our attention. The footsteps walked down the hall, came through the door where we were at, and stopped at the foot of the bed. And the mattress of the bed sunk in. Like that ghost sat on the bed. And my eyes got that big. My mother grabbed me. My sister just started shaking. And out of nowhere, the mattress came back to level, and the footsteps walked out of the room. That blew our mind. We went crazy. We told Dad, Mother told Dad, we were going to pack up and move. That was a ghost, no doubt. And that same night, it may have been 2 nights, but within a night or two, I remember I was in my room at night and heard footsteps again. By then, I was ready for footsteps. And those footsteps was clear as day, walking down the hall. And I immediately jumped up and ran to my sister's room and jumped on the bed with them. And those footsteps, I woke them up. So all 3 of us was up, listening to those footsteps come down the hall and stopped right at our door. And a cool breeze just kind of went over. And we just went crazy and ran into Mom and Dad, woke them up. Long story short, we moved. Within a week, we did not live there anymore. And that's not the weird part. I didn't talk about this much because it sounded weird. I was a cool teenager and I didn't want people to laugh at me. About a year or 2 later, a friend of mine was telling a story about a haunted house. And I just kind of listened into it. her cousins moved in this house. There was the name of this house, and she called it by name. And she said, "Oh my gosh, that house was haunted. They heard ghosts, and they did not. They moved in, and within a week they left." And I never said a word to her. I never told her I lived that. I just kind of, okay, I believed it. That really happened. That was a true story, and that house is still there today. It's vacant because I went by and visited maybe a year ago, but no one lives in that house anymore. The graveyard is still there. The horses are all gone. The vaults are still there. And so, my thoughts. I know you want to ask me this. Do I believe in ghosts? You know, I believe in something. You know, if it's not ghosts, I believe there's something out there. You know, I was raised in church, so I believe in the Holy Spirit. I believe in angels, and I believe in spirits. But I do believe that there is something out there that we cannot explain. You know, if you want to call it afterlife, you can. But I will be the first one to say, yes, there is something. So, you know, with that said, you know, that's a true story. My sisters can vouch for it. It really happened. And to this day, around October, I kind of keep to myself. I don't decorate my house. I don't like haunted stuff that much. With these lights behind us. But I do believe in something like that. So yeah, that's my story. So yeah, be careful out there, everybody. That's it. Put a witch's hat on.
I'm MaryGrace Maluda, and this is my dad.
I'm Gary Maluda, the father of this foul beast.
Oh, and this is Lola.